When Jesus comes back, the Bible tells us that he will rule and reign from Jerusalem on this earth for 1,000 years. But there's a lot going on during that 1,000 years, like rebuilding the earth. Followers of Jesus who had been dead or had been raptured will have new resurrected bodies back here on this earth for the 1,000 years. What is that going to look like? Join us today as Joel Richardson explains it to us. The world is a disaster.
Yeah.
Like everything's just happened, and the fires and the oceans and the animal, like nothing's like it is. So,
what a mess.
So what happens now, because we're moving into the 1,000-year reign? So
Okay.
Is it rebuilding?
Yeah.
Jesus comes out now. He's going to set up throne in his throne in Jerusalem. Then what? Take us from there.
Yep. So there's numerous passages throughout the prophets that says then they will rebuild the ancient ruins. So sometimes we imagine in our heads Jesus comes back at the end of Revelation. He says, "Behold, I make all things new." We think he comes back like with a magic wand or something. No, he comes back with a sword. He executes the vengeance of God. The single most consistent description of Jesus throughout the entire Bible is the divine warrior. Like, that's the main description of Jesus, the divine warrior. He comes back with vengeance to save us who have waited. I'll actually throw this out. Those who wait on the Lord, they will renew their strength. They'll run. We quote that, like, if I just wait on the Lord in the prayer room, he'll strengthen me. No, the idea is those who throughout their entire lives have waited, who have hoped. The word wait can also, some translations translate those who have hoped in the Lord. We who have invested our entire lives in hoping for him, the day is coming when we will be renewed like eagles. And so for those that have waited, the righteous throughout the Bible are defined as those who wait. Those who wait for him, those who hope for him. Our lives are defined as we're waiting, we're hoping, we're investing because we believe these things are true. So yes, we're with him, and then it describes we will partner with him. He doesn't just wave a magic wand and the earth is, like a rainbow cloud goes over the earth and ding, everything's new. It says we will actually partner with him, rebuilding the ancient ruins, restoring these things. There is actually a process of cleaning up the earth. That's why they're burning weapons. They're cleaning up the dead bodies in Jerusalem. It says for as much as 7 months they're cleaning up the dead bodies. For 7 years they're burning this stuff. They're beating their swords into plowshares. They're converting the earth into the nightmare that it is now, into an agrarian utopia with the king on the throne. And the prophets describe all of this rich beauty of the age to come. It says, each man will sit under his own vine or fig tree, and he'll invite his neighbors over. Like socializing. And the mountains will drip with sweet wine. And that's okay, because we'll be in our glorified bodies. Sorry, Baptists. But it's like, hey, neighbors, come on over. Like, I got vines, I got fig trees. And, how many people, you get excited of, like, I can't wait to quit my job or retire and actually partner with Jesus in the Millennial Kingdom Garden Planning Committee, or the architectural committee. Like, Jesus, what will the buildings be like? Will you build these like Washington, D.C., Gothic revival, grandiose, or will it be like just humble Middle Eastern, Mediterranean clay tile, Phoenix-style desert, or will it be like Hobbit homes with Art Nouveau, hippie designs built into the hill? This is our destiny. We will actually rebuild the earth. We have 1,000 years to do it under his leadership. And I don't understand all the ins and outs of how Jerusalem, the city, comes down, and we're in our natural bodies, but many of the Jews are still we're in our glorified bodies, they're still in their natural bodies. How will we interact? I don't quite understand all that. The Bible doesn't tell us. It gives us just enough details to get really excited and to go, this is beautiful. I'm signing up for this.
Wow. Okay. I love it. So then talk about, so this is the 1,000-year reign. So Jesus comes, because it's hard to imagine, like we're in the United States, we have a president, but at this point, the world is going to be completely different. It's not going to be like, Costco's not going to be there anymore, and Safeway. It's just nothing is going to be the same. So many people will have died.
It's not just going to be Arby's and Hardee's and McDonald's everywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be that anymore. A lot of people, but there are some people, non-believers, that will make it through this tribulation period.
That said, there will be donuts. I just do.
Thank you. Yeah, and Dr. Pepper.
I actually found a verse that one translation says there'll be beer. I got a little excited about that.
I was wondering, like you said, fast, like you did a juice fast, and I'm like, I wonder if like God would be okay with like a Dr. Pepper fast, just for me. Like, is there a reason why? Like you juice.
You might fall into a coma, but you can try it.
Okay. Okay. So now everything's different. Jesus is on the throne, glorified bodies. Some people are non-believers at this point are coming into the millennial reign, and they're like, oh, Jesus is on the throne. They're still not going to believe.
The overwhelming, I mean, there's a process, but I think the majority will believe, but yet and then Satan is chained up for 1,000 years, but strangely, there's this little weird rebellion at the end of the 1,000 years. But overwhelmingly, I think the vast majority, so you've got beautiful passages like Isaiah 60, and it's describing the millennium, beautiful poetic passage, again, arise and shine, for your light has come, the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Deep darkness covers the earth, deep darkness the peoples, but the Lord will rise upon you. And then it goes on, and all of a sudden it says, multitudes of camels will cover your land. And you go, what are we dealing with here? It's actually describing caravans, multitudes of caravans of camels coming up from Saudi Arabia, because it says camels of Sheba and Kedar and Nebaioth. These are the children of Ishmael down Saudi Arabia, and they're bringing gifts. They're bringing the incense and the gold of Arabia and all of these things to build the millennial temple, to glorify the house of God, and they will call you Jerusalem, the city of God, Zion, the Holy One of Israel. So, again, if they're coming from Saudi Arabia, they're former Muslims that have, and it says, and their offerings will be acceptable on my altar. They're bringing gifts to rebuild the temple in Jerusalem. Like, you got to understand, Zion is the most dirty. It's the N-word of the Islamic world. You don't say Zion. Like Zion, it's a word filled with pain and confusion, and it'll be a word sweet on their lips, Zion, of the Holy One of Israel. And then it says, the sons of those who formerly afflicted you will come bowing down at the soles of your feet. And so I think, there's passages actually that say that they'll go out as emissaries from Jerusalem during the millennium to teach the Gentiles the ways of God. So I think there'll actually be ongoing discipleship and teaching that will go on during the millennium. But I think the majority will be believers. But yes, at the very end, there is, strangely, after Satan is released, just for a little while, a very short little rebellion at the end of the millennium. And that one is pretty tricky. It's ultimately saying, like, guys, I gave you Eden. I gave you one thing to do. Don't eat that tree.
I love that segment. I think we learned so much that the end times when Jesus comes back is going to be so amazing, but what happens after that is going to be even more amazing. So if you want to watch the whole conference, the End Times Timeline Conference, I'll put a link below. If you want to know more about Joel Richardson, you can go to joelstrumpet.com, and we will see you next week.